I was looking into the BAFTA controversy and I found something way more interesting than the fact that the BBC has horrible quality control in their post-production process. Because in all of this hullabaloo, what we lost sight of is the fact that the award for Best Animated Film went to something called Zootropolis too. And if you're feeling very Berenstein Bears right now, very Fruit of the Loom cornucopia, yes, this is very much giving Mandela effect, because what the heck is Zootropolis? Shout out to my neurospicy brain, because I just instinctively looked it up and found out that Zootopia was renamed to Zootropolis in Europe. Now, for those of you who don't know, I thought this was just an example of localization, right? There's this process in production where if you take something outside of its original market and move it to another one, you sometimes want to update the film so that it makes sense for that new place. For instance, if you have an animated film going from the United States to Japan, you might not only change the subtitles so that they appear in Japanese, but you might also change the food that the character is eating. So instead of having a cheeseburger, he's eating a rice ball. However, this was not localization. This was actually a trademark issue, which is a whole nother thing that you should know exists. Major movies and TV shows and other kinds of media are actually trademarked so that you can't go make another movie called Iron Man without giving Marvel and Disney their coins. And this exists in other parts of the world too. However, trademark rules vary from one region to another, from country to country, and even from continent to continent. So in the United States, Disney was able to trademark the name Zootopia. There was nobody else out there who had that as a trademark. But when they went to Europe, somebody did. There is a zoo in Denmark. I think it's pronounced Givskud Zoo, but I'm just gonna call it Lion Park because that's the other name it has and I can say that one. But apparently in the EU, they have had the trademark of Zootopia since 2010. And because the trademark is not through Denmark, but through the European Union, that means that it applied to all of the countries that were included in the European Union in 2010. And while the UK is not currently a part of the European Union as of 2020, they were back then. They didn't officially vote on Brexit until 2016, which was the same time that Zootopia came out. So in taking the film to Europe, Disney had to change the name from Zootopia to something else because that trademark applied to basically every country in Europe. And so they picked the name Zootropolis, which had not yet been trademarked by anybody else. So when Zootopia 1 came out in 2016, the UK was still part of the EU. Therefore, they had the name Zootropolis. When they left in 2020 and Zootopia 2 came out in 2025, I guess they just decided to still release it under the same name, Zootropolis. I don't know what the new trademark rules are around things that were established during the EU period and have now had to come across English laws in the post-EU period. So yeah, Zootopia 2 won a BAFTA for Best Animated Film. However, it's under the name Zootropolis because a zoo in Denmark has that trademark for Europe and the United Kingdom.